If you feel like you have been manifesting something for an entire year and you got no results, somewhere in there you were complaining, somewhere in there you were not being consistent, and you weren't consistently being the version of you who had what they want, or else what you desired would be in your reality. So if you were consistent for a week and then by day 8 you're like, well, I did it for 7 days and I don't see nothing in my reality, nothing's working, nothing's changing, and you did that consistently off and on for an entire year, what makes you think something is going to change? Now that you're here, before we start the video, if you haven't done so already, I would love for you to come and join the free Discord community that I created, and also grab your free copy of the Manifest My Dream Life ebook. The link for both of those will be in the description below. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into the video. So I just want to make this video for those of you who are complainers, okay? I made a list of a few things that I wanted to talk about, and this one was on the list. So before I start recording videos for new things, I have to get this video out, because when you complain and you are a conscious creator, you already know that there's no room for complaining. Why are you complaining? So if you complain about your circumstances, if you complain about not having your manifestation, if you complain about things taking too long, this video is going to be for you, because I intend that something I say resonates with you, to give you that little light bulb moment, to make you have a shift and realize you need to stop complaining, okay? Because when you are complaining, right, what are you doing? You're restating circumstances that you don't want to experience because you're complaining about it. So you're literally identifying, confirming that what you don't want is in your reality. So if you don't have enough money, you're like, oh, you're just complaining about money. You don't have enough money. You keep getting bills. You keep having to spend money. Well, guess what? You're keeping yourself in that cycle because you're complaining about it. If your SP isn't doing what you want them to do, or they're taking forever to show up how you want them to show up, what are you doing? Complaining about what they're doing. And nothing's changing, right? Nothing can change when you're complaining. Nothing can change, because you have the term complaining. Yeah, so you know you're complaining about something, but what you're actually doing is you're manifesting, you're affirming, and you're being consistent. You're just being consistent in something that you obviously don't want to experience. And it just feels so easy and so natural for you to complain, because that's what you're used to doing. You're used to complaining. You're used to whining and crying and bitching about your reality, your circumstances, your life. And trust me, I've been there. Like, I used to be the biggest complainer when it came to like SPs and relationships and stuff. And that was before I realized that I'm the reason why they're acting the way that they do. I complained about a guy for so long. Like, I was manifesting him, but I complained about him for so long and complained about everything that he was doing. And the moment I stopped complaining, everything that I was manifesting hit me in my face, like instantly. So I can tell you, when you're complaining, you're just manifesting. You're complaining and you are affirming that this reality looks the way that I don't want it to look. I still have this thing. I'm still dealing with this thing, right? And because of that, your subconscious, all right, is your little blind best friend, your little cheerleader that's going to give you whatever you want. They are your yes man. But your yes man is blind. Your yes man cannot see. They don't have physical eyes. Your yes man only knows what you tell it through repetition, through the thoughts, through your imagination, your visualizations, your scripting, words, all of that, right? Your decisions, the things you repeat most often. That's what your little blind best friend wants to give you more of. So if you're faced with a reality that has things in it that you don't want, your best bet is to stop identifying it. Stop identifying as that version of yourself who's experiencing that thing, because that's the only way that you're going to change it. You can't go out and physically change anything in your reality, because it's not the physical action that is changing anything. It is your thoughts at the end of the day. Your thoughts, your assumptions, your beliefs, all of that. So What I want you to do is realize, why are you complaining? Why are you complaining? Why are you complaining that you don't have something? Because the more you are consistent and persistent and disciplined to show up every day as the version of yourself who doesn't have what they want, and you're in the complaining state of being, that's what you're going to keep getting. And then one day you're going to get sick of your shit. You're going to be over yourself. You're going to be tired of experiencing the same thing. And then you're going to want to make a change. And when you're ready to make that change, you will. And until then, you're just going to keep on complaining. But I'm here to tell you, complaining is not keeping your manifestation from you. Complaining is keeping you in that state of being where you don't have your manifestation, where it seems like you don't have what you desire. So complaining equals I don't have. Complaining equals I'm still trying to get. Complaining is what you don't want to do. And instead, you need discipline to realize I'm about to complain about the same thing again. And if I know that I'm the creator of my reality, if I know that my thoughts create, my dominant thoughts create, why would I keep repeating this same old story about what I don't have? I don't care what I see in my reality. I don't care what circumstances pop up that try to validate the fact that I don't have what I want. I no longer identify with that. So because I no longer identify with that, I'm only going to identify as the person who has what they want. And then when you are disciplined enough to do that and consistently complain about having what you want, then your reality has to reflect that. Your reality just seems like it's not changing because you're not changing. The reality, the world that you live in, that you see, does not change on its own. It does not move on its own. You that is watching this video, you give every single thing in your reality instructions on what to do through your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions. All right. So if you're the one who is giving every single thing instructions, why do you think something would change if you haven't changed? Why do you think that money is going to magically show up in your bank account if you're still complaining about it? Why do you think your SP is going to want to marry you if you're still complaining about it? Why do you think your kids are still bouncing off the walls if you're still complaining about it? Why do you think you don't have that job if you're still complaining about it? Complaining gets you nowhere. It just doesn't. It keeps you on the hamster wheel of experiencing what you don't want. But the positive in this is you absolutely manifest accurately, okay? Because whatever you're complaining about, you're getting exactly that, aren't you? Every single time. Nothing's changing, right? Because you're consistently complaining. And that's my next point. You don't have an issue with being consistent. I said that in Wednesday's video about being consistent and disciplined. You don't have an issue with being consistent because if you complain every day about your circumstances, you're consistently choosing to be that version of you who is a complainer of their circumstances and a complainer of circumstances that they don't want. So instead, be a complainer of what you do want. You're a great complainer. You're great at being consistent, right? You're great at that. So be great at it, but be great at it where it actually benefits you. Be great at complaining, but complaining about how much you love your life, complaining about how much money you have, complaining about how much love your SP gives you, complaining about how all these job opportunities keep popping up for you. Just imagine if you consistently showed up as that version of yourself every single day for an entire month. Just imagine how amazing your world would look. Just imagine how much things will actually change for you. And I give this disclaimer in every video I feel like, but yeah, things don't take 30 days. Things don't take 60 days. Like the moment you decide something is true, yeah, it's true. And it's up to you to consistently just decide that. And what your consistency looks like is different. So if you want to affirm all day long, if you want to robotic affirm all day long, if you only want to meditate 30 minutes a day, if you only want to write 2 sentences down, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter what your consistency looks like. It just matters that you be consistent. Okay? Because the techniques aren't manifesting. And the even bigger thing that I want to point out to you, which I point out to all of my coaching clients, is what are you doing outside of those technique times? If you are getting yourself on a manifestation routine because you know you want to be consistent and only being the version of you who has what they want, only thinking as that version of yourself, then what manifestation techniques are you doing? What routines are you doing, right? Do that every day. But outside of that is the more important thing, because what are you thinking on autopilot throughout your day? Are you still complaining in your mind? Are you still having those negative inner conversations about how you don't have what you want and how things aren't going your way? Because guess what? You're always creating. You're always in creator mode, always. It never gets turned off. Like, that's not something you can just switch off and say, I'm not going to do it today. I'm tired of manifesting. I'm not going to do it. And trust me, I've been in a position where you feel like you want to give up. You feel like nothing is working, or you feel like nothing is changing, and you want to just let it all go. But once you know this information, you know it and you can't unknow it. And you also can't just turn off your manifestation ability, because that's your true nature. That's who you are. And this is stuff you probably should have been taught in school, but that's our school system. So since we're here and you're learning now, you're just learning how to consistently show up every day as a version of you who actually has what they desire to experience, instead of consistently showing up as a version of yourself who doesn't have what they want. I don't care if you feel like you have been manifesting something for an entire year and you got no results. Somewhere in there, you were complaining. Somewhere in there, you were not being consistent, and you weren't consistently being the version of you who had what they want, or else what you desired would be in your reality. So if you were consistent for a week and then by day 8, you're like, well, I did it for 7 days and I don't see nothing in my reality. Nothing's working. Nothing's changing. And you did that consistently off and on for an entire year. What makes you think something is going to change? You're not changing. If you don't change, your reality cannot change. And that's just what it is. It has to start in here first. It starts within. As within, so without. It cannot change out here without you changing inside of here. So for those of you who are complainers, who are always bitching and griping about your circumstances, how nothing has changed for you and nothing is working for you, take a step back. Take a step back and realign yourself. Remind yourself who you really are. And if you've never consciously experienced who you really are, then start off with something that you perceive as small. Start off with something that is so minimal to you, okay? And I know I've spoken with some of you where you say you can manifest the small things, but for some reason the big things don't manifest. That's still an affirmation. That is still you deciding on something. You decided that I can manifest the small stuff, but the big stuff doesn't manifest for me. I always get the little stuff, but the big stuff, for some reason, it just doesn't show up. That's just a decision that you're making. Life is literally full of decisions, and you have full range to decide on whatever you want, no matter how illogical it may be or how logical it may be, okay? It doesn't even have to make sense. It's what you're deciding on. So if you feel like you're a person who the small stuff manifests, but the big stuff doesn't, then guess what? You need to start telling yourself, I manifest the big things even faster. The biggest manifestations are the easiest for me to experience. The biggest things that I desire come the easiest to me. You need to identify as the version of yourself who easily gets even the biggest manifestations, because manifestation is instant. Manifestation is effortless. No matter what it is that you want, you always get it. And it's just going to take you to no longer consistently identify as that version of yourself, and to consistently identify as the version of yourself who actually experiences that. Like, that's all that this is here. So I'm really intending that if you are a complainer, if you are like a thumb complainer, you go in the comments and you type it up, or you go on the groups, Discords, Facebook groups, comment sections, and you just type out all your circumstances and you're complaining about them nonstop because nothing's changing. And I did it for 24 hours. I affirmed for 24 hours and nothing changed. You haven't changed. That's why. You haven't changed. You have to change before your reality changes. So give yourself grace. Take the time limit off of it, because maybe it's your first time consciously manifesting something. So you're consciously believing that something is hard for you, something is impossible for you, something may take longer for you. But all it takes, it doesn't take you to believe in it. It doesn't take you anything other than to just tell yourself your new story. That is it. That's all you have to do, is just tell yourself the new story, no matter what. No matter what you see in your 3D reality, no matter what comes up, no matter what comes at you, no matter how you feel, no matter how long you feel like you've been manifesting and affirming for something, tell yourself that you have it. Decide that it's yours and consistently remind yourself of that every day. Consistently tell yourself that every day. Consistently be that version of yourself every day, whichever one resonates, okay? Because again, life is full of decisions, but it's also filled with perspectives. Everybody has their own perspective, and this one is just mine. But stop complaining, okay? Stop complaining, because it's not getting you anywhere. If you're complaining about the negative consistently, then I need you to consistently complain about the positive, just as easily and effortlessly as you complain about the negative. You need to make complaining about the positive stuff just as easy and normal to you as you've made the negative stuff, okay? Because the negative stuff happened to you through society conditioning, schooling, people that raised you, just your whole environment. It was not your choice. Okay? It wasn't your choice. But now you have a choice. Now you have a choice. So if you identify as the creator of your reality, as a conscious creator, as someone who co-creates their reality with God, the universe, and whatever you believe in, if that is what you identify as, then you're not going to be a complainer no more, because you know better, right? You're not going to keep restating negative circumstances that you don't want, because you know better, right? So I intend that this enlightens you a little bit. I intend that you no longer want to complain about the shit you don't want, because that's how you get rid of it. Stop complaining about it. Stop being so focused on it. Stop giving it your attention. Stop seeing it with your mind's eye, because your subconscious hears everything that you say. It understands everything that you give it, and it's not going to have an opinion and be like, well, I don't think you need that. No, whatever you give it, it's going to give right back to you, as within, so without. So if you're constantly giving, it's not working, complaints, 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 what state of being do you think you're existing in? Your state of being is complaining. And therefore, everything you are manifesting is full of complaints, because that's your state of being. So when you shift to the state of being of I have everything that I want, there's nothing for me to complain about, because my life is so perfect and I have everything, then that's what you're manifesting. Everything that you want manifests easily and effortlessly, because that's your state of being. You're no longer complaining because your state of being has changed. But to change your state of being, you have to persist in a different thought. You have to persist in something different. You have to consistently decide to be a different version of yourself every single day. And if you're somebody who struggles with being consistent, being disciplined enough to consistently think positive thoughts, and being mindful enough to catch yourself when you do those things, then I have created a consistency workshop. It's actually a consistency and discipline workshop, because it's a 30-day workshop where you show up for yourself every single day. Okay. And it only unlocks one day at a time, so you cannot skip ahead. And every day it's going to take you no more than 15 minutes to accomplish whatever the task is. It has you using a habit tracker. I have videos on there that I've recorded, journal prompts, activities, reflections, things to get you to show up as the version of yourself who has exactly what you want. So if you need that helping hand, I did create the consistency workshop, and the link for that is in the description below. Other than that, if you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them down below. If you would like guidance or assistance with your manifestations, I would love to help you. And I do offer phone and email coaching. And if you're not interested in that, I do also offer group coaching through YouTube and Patreon. And the link for all of those is in the description below. If you watch this video until the end, I appreciate you so much, and I will see y'all in the next video.